Gathered together from the cosmic reaches of the universe, here in this great hall of justice.
Hey, toy fans, welcome to our Toy Addictions, your source for what was then, what's now, and what's about to be in the world of toys. From @Code of Eleverse, we talk about it all. There's something for everyone in our coffers of toy joy, so without further ado, let's talk little plastic people and things. I'm Matt, producer of this trip down the toys rabbit hole. To my right, that wacky lover of all things Bobby Bella, Aaron of 6 Inch. And across the table, your host and favorite seller of everything, Scalper Ron. Let's hit it!
What's going on?
We're back. Hopefully in a semi-permanent basis.
Yeah, no, we had to make some tweaks.
Yeah, we had some family things, and we had some other family things, and
well, we wanted to
we had some mental things and some school
Yeah.
things, and
we wanted to reformat to a more fast-paced show. So we'll see you guys next week, and same bat time, same bat channel. We're out. So, all right, who's been up to what?
Not a heck of a lot. Went out and did some rounds the other day. Picked up a couple of things. Got this nice little iron die bots out here in front there.
I haven't seen that brand yet.
I got sucked down this rabbit hole. Now I'm going to be selling a bunch of crap so I can buy the rest of those. I'm a Dinobots nut, though.
I should, but I won't give you shit because you guys gave me shit about going down the Super 7 rabbit hole.
Yeah. No. Well, yeah. That's fine. I'll eventually get them all. It's going to take me about 9 years, but
I haven't bought them yet. But I'm still searching eBay for a cheap Michelangelo.
a cheap.
Well,
that being the.
Relative term.
The relative term, exactly.
Cheap today was not the same thing as. So, part of the prolonged absence was I kind of had a, I don't know, epiphany. I kind of just decided I was done with toys. Now I'm not like done with toys. I'm still like talking about toys and looking at them and shit, but I'm just not jazzed about going out and hunting them anymore. I think a lot of it has to do with classified. They've really let me down last year.
I've still seen a ton. I mean, the Recondo was like one of the big, the big ones that people were like waiting for and stuff. And you know what? I kind of think it's partly the Tiger Force thing. Because there's a lot of people out there think the Tiger Force thing is hokey, I guess.
So I was actually watching a video with a Viper Island video I think he put out yesterday. When I was getting ready this morning, and he was saying how and I noticed it, like the fan interest is waning, and a lot of it has to do with like you do like an announcement of the figures you're going to put out, and then 6 months later you show digital renders, and then maybe 3 or 4 months later you show like an actual figure. I mean, when you hear the name come off the list, it's well over a year before you even get the figure in hand.
Yeah, it's
and
really
people
crazy.
don't want to do that. And the thing
about not only that, but when a lot of times it makes it hard to get the figures anyway because so many third-party sellers are just snapping them up when they come out.
Right.
I mean, they're buying them by the container load, it seems like, and then next thing you know, you have to buy it from a third-party seller that's charging you $2 more, $3 more. And you can't find them on the peg because I don't know if that's Target's problem, Hasbro's problem. I really don't know.
I'm seeing pictures and snippets of, North Carolina Target got 3 cases of this, I can't find them in our stores. I think part of it has to do with how the store network works, but I'm convinced that like the Lamont Target out here, like there's a guy that pays some dude that says, hey, when these come in, I'll give you like $40. Let me get the whole case. I'm convinced.
It wouldn't surprise me in the least because I actually talked to a guy. I actually became pretty good friends with a guy that worked at the Toys R Us when it was in town here.
Yeah, I know they
and
do that.
I found out that there were 2 people that would come in, and there were 2 people in the back. Did like evening stocking or whatever.
I was very good friends with a guy in high school whose older brother worked at Toys R Us, and he did that.
Yeah, there were 2 people in the back that actually if you walked up to them with enough cash, they would hide the box for you.
Yeah.
So
I thought you were going to say
that's
hide
why,
the body.
No, I mean they would
The
hide
little
they would
bodies.
hide the case for you, and they would
So,
come in
but
when the management was gone at 8:00 at night, whatever,
yeah.
just before they're closing or whatever, and
So.
sneak it to them out the back door.
Yep.
So
but for me, it was for me there is no more hunt. I mean, there's no. It's the aggravations of hunting far outweighs me not having the money to spend shit on I don't need. Maybe I just became an adult and I realized that. So Classified's kind of out. And don't get me wrong, if I find Outback in a store, I'll pick him up because he was one of my favorite figures of all time.
Right.
And I'd like to have a 6-inch version. The Tiger Force version is amazing. But right now, I'm kind of focused on Valaverse, and we'll talk about that.
yeah, I got to admit I've made. I mean, I'm still picking and choosing, but I've made the jump too.
Yeah. So it's Valaverse is not in stores yet. You can buy it online and all the retailers. All I got to do is go order it, and he makes enough of the stuff that,
quite frankly,
you don't have to be there 4 minutes after the shit goes live, and it's it's sold out.
I wish all the success in the world to Bobby Vela in this line, but I hope and pray that it stays the way he's doing business now, that he just gets bigger and does this big online thing, because I really hope the shit stays out of the stores, because you have a better chance of getting the shit this way.
Yeah.
You just
No,
do.
absolutely.
You just do.
Yeah.
They've already. I mean, they've done a couple of exclusives, and they do the JoeCon thing or whatever, which is fine. I mean, but they don't do like other places do, where they'll bring 5 or 6 different exclusives to a convention, and that's the only place you can get it. Next thing you know, your secondary prices are 5, 6, 10 times more than it was when it was at the con.
Yeah.
But I mean, Bobby's got one. He's got one exclusive coming to the con.
Yeah.
He's got one exclusive in a weapon pack or something. I can't remember
I
exactly
thought I
what
heard
it
him
was.
say 2.5, but
Yeah.
yeah.
But I mean, you saw
you
saw the Vala Fests,
Valafair, yeah.
the Vala Fairs or whatever. So I haven't seen him yet, but as far as I know, he's only got a 1 or 2 weapons packs and one figure coming to the con. So
So, but yeah, I mean, that kind of generally takes us into our topic for the day. So, what have you got for us, Ron? Or did you not write it down?
No, you're running the show. I don't do Valaverse.
Am I running the show now?
You're,
okay.
Yeah.
No, well,
Yeah.
this isn't that show. This is the other show.
What show?
The one that you texted me about a week ago that I had to dig.
Oh.
Remember I told you guys I don't go through my texts?
Okay, so you're...
And last night at 2 in the morning after
Oh.
I got the house cleaned up, I was like, I got to sit down and prep the show.
So from my understanding from this morning, you're like, we're going to do this one and then we could do the next one later.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's part of the
Okay.
format. We should probably give
Okay.
you a fair warning now until we get used to this.
I'm lost.
Because of our schedules, we're going to be recording a couple
Whatever.
episodes at a time and putting them out still one a week to try to get that content out there. So we may kind of talk ahead a little bit, but we're going to try to do our best to catch ourselves on that. That's why I didn't want to go too far into the Valafair, because that show we're recording next, but that will be released today, so it's kind of fucked up. Anyways, so what you sent me was, let's talk about collecting a toy line that's popular, like DC Multiverse.
Yep.
But the cinematic universe, or like I put other media universes, are total disasters at the moment.
Yes.
Versus collecting a toy line that's completely falling apart, i.e. Emily and G.I. Joe, because of total mismanagement, but it's still popular with the fans. So what are the kind of pros and cons, I guess, to both? So I don't know. Dig back into your head. What else were you thinking on the periphery?
DC is falling apart.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, no, James Gunn is involved now, so we're all good.
Well,
Just give it some time, bro.
They hired back
Ben Affleck?
Cavill, and then they fired him a week later again.
Oh, yeah.
And then they...
Oh, Cavill.
Cavill.
You said Cavill, I was thinking
I'm
Jim
thinking-
Caviezel. I was
yeah.
like, is Jesus Christ a superhero now?
Yeah, that's what I meant. And then they...
Jesus Christ,
let,
superhero.
Affleck go, but then they brought him back again.
But he's not part of it again, though, right?
But he's directing the next Batman film with him showing up as Batman.
Wow.
So
Will that have
this
Michael
whole
Keaton
line,
or no?
no, thank God, because I'm seeing reviews from the screening saying it's not good.
What's that for the
Flash?
The Flash.
Yeah.
It's-
Well,
I
they're making a
think
big deal about
I-
this movie too. Because
I think it's going to be a typical all over the fucking place too long DC movie. I hate to say it, but I mean, I got to admit the newer version, the newer, longer version of Justice League, I thought was well done. I mean, it took a while to watch it. There was some spots in there that were but it was well done.
Yes.
I thought it was very well done. They finally they made the changes they needed to do with the characters, and they told the story the right way. Took a while, like I said, but we did a viewing, and we took breaks in between, had dinner, and kind of shit.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm curious about it too, because just the trailer looked like it was way involved, man. Like there was a lot to keep up with.
They're bringing back Keaton. They're bringing back the Justice League Zod. He's in it.
Because of the timeline.
Oh yeah.
No,
because of the timeline that they're
can't go back.
screwing with.
Yeah, they screwed it. They're doing the Marvel, so they can bring anybody back. Just like Tony Stark, they wanted him for another movie and TV show on Disney. He said yes. He wants $80 million. They said we'll call you tomorrow, and they never called him. So
Yeah, I heard
but
that
they
it
can
was- yeah.
with both these franchises. They don't. It doesn't matter if you kill anybody off, because they could come back as their older self, their younger self. You could bring them back as a different character. So they just opened the door to let these two franchises run for the next 100 years, and you can contradict yourselves,
Yeah.
and it doesn't matter because
You
that's
said
just
Run.
a different.
Was that a Flash reference?
I don't even like the.
Well, that's
Flash.
exactly what they did with the comic book. They started that crap with the New 52.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like they started that crap with the Crisis on Infinite Earths, and then they kind of continued it with the New 52, and then like everybody's just kind of scratching their head, going, "What the hell is this New 52 shit?"
Right.
So they went back to the old
Yep.
way. He's completely obliterated that comic line.
But just like crazy things, like so, McFarlane's line is quite popular with collectors.
Yeah.
But
So
they're
here's
falling
an
apart.
interesting take as we go through this. So as we bring up different lines, we'll have to put them in the category: are they mismanaged yet popular, or are they popular toys yet mishandling?
well, the toy
Of-
line
of
itself
media.
is not mishandled. I don't think.
Well, no,
I think
so here's an example of what I'm thinking. So let's bring up Masters of the Universe.
okay.
Are they a mishandled line, or are they like a popular line despite that there's really no media out there?
Which is kind of weird because shows make the toys. Kids
Usually.
play with toys because of the show,
Right.
and there is no show.
Yep.
Revelation, but that was 3 mini episodes.
Was it 3? I thought it was 6.
6?
It was 6.
Maybe
It was-
6.
Yeah, it was 6 episodes. But they were
but-
only like half hour long.
But that was it. So there is no show unless you go back to the 80s
right.
or early 90s
Which
or
I
the
think
movie.
for $38.99 at Walmart you can get the disc set.
Exactly. So I don't know if the line is mismanaged, and I think they want to try to utilize every dollar they can, just like anybody else
Yeah.
nowadays, because everything is so expensive.
Right.
So I don't know. They're not in the realm of mismanagement, kind of like Hasbro is. Excuse me, but
Which arm of Hasbro?
I think they could be better if they had a new movie or some kind of animated show that was a consistent
Live action.
something. Yes, well, not even live action. It could be animated.
Okay.
But there's no
I think if
constant
they-
movies.
I think if they paid the right money to the right people, they could probably get they probably could get a decent live action movie
See, I
out
think-
of Masters of the Universe.
You'd have to. You would have to if you did live action, like bring back a scene with Dolph Lundgren as like King Grayskull, just as a nod that he was in the original franchise, like the original live action attempt.
I think there's too much magic to make it live action, unless you don't want to spend $200 million
Called
like
the
a Harry
Lord of the
Potter.
Rings or
on
Harry
these
Potter.
special
Yeah.
effects.
See,
and
I
stuff.
mean, I don't think He-Man's that popular
Yeah, but can you imagine thoh?
to have a
See,
$100
here's-
million movie.
See, here's the
sitting there.
thing. This is like a great discussion. Actually,
See, I think that's crazy because, I really think it's become more and more, especially the vintage line back in the 80s. It's
Yeah.
become more and more popular every year.
Yeah.
People,
It is.
people keep.
Yeah.
I mean, people are hunting that stuff to the point where, they're like people are selling piece parts for
Yeah.
20, 30.
yeah, unbelievably stupid amounts of
Here's
money.
your web gear for $30. Seriously.
Yeah,
But
so yeah,
I think that franchise, like every other franchise, and you see it in Marvel and DC. Not so much Marvel because they got their shit together, but DC because they can't get the CG good, right. Correct.
They're just not willing to pay the right studio to do it.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
So if they're not going to pay the money, I'm going to be critical, and I'm not going to see the next movie.
So here,
Transformers was getting there with Bay. It was getting way too jacked, and I'm like, I'm not. So I'm excited about. I like Bumblebee, and I'm excited about the Beast because he's not part of it. But if they go and they want to do it right, and you do the Lord of the Rings / Harry Potter type-esque movie, you're going to pay the $100 million. I'm going to sit there for my $20 and be extremely critical and say, I'm done. This guy did not do it right. I don't care about the second movie.
Yeah.
Or the third movie or whatever.
Well, that
could hurt a franchise.
So so a couple points I want to throw out. So like what you're saying, look at G.I. Joe Origins. I mean, Snake Eyes wasn't a bad movie on its own, but for what it was trying to do, like with that franchise, it was terrible.
So bad.
Like it was kind of a cool, campy kung fu type action.
That
movie.
was one movie that I damn near, if I'd have paid for the ticket, I would have went and asked for my money back.
Yeah,
that movie was absolutely horrible.
But here's the thing though, like, was it bad because you knew that it was tied to Snake Eyes and G.I. Joe, or was it just like poorly? I didn't think it was like poorly acted.
I mean, I think I think most of the acting was shitty. I think some of the characters just didn't need to be there, and I think the way that they actually told the Snake Eyes origin. Yeah, I get it. It's a different universe kind of thing.
Yeah,
but
they
I mean, come on.
It.
I mean, they didn't even. There was nowhere. They were nowhere close to the comic.
Yeah,
that was made to get kids in the theater.
Right.
That was that's all that movie was made for.
Which brings me to my second point.
Messed it up when they did it.
Which brings me to my second point. So like Mattel and Hasbro still claim that they're making these toys for kids.
Yes.
You know, they say it.
But they know it's not.
But and they put on the package 4 and up, right?
Yes.
So they absolutely know it's not. Absolutely.
So why did we all buy these toys as kids? Because we watched the cartoons. We had that media there. Like we still had the creative license to create our own stories with these figures, but we kind of also had like a kind of a push because we could grab from other stories and just kind of make it our own. So I think a big part of it is there's no media out there for the kids. So if there's no media for the kids to kind of follow, and
there's no imagination for kids.
Like it built a connection to G.I. Joe, right? For me,
I saw G.I. Joe. I could take my toys and I could run the same scenario in my backyard or in my living room.
Right.
I whatever line. I seen Batman take down Joker. I could take my Batman and Joker toys and still play the same way or change it up a bit. Or it gave me that idea that I can run a show in my head or in my house.
Yeah, that's all
Kids
it did
don't
was
have
put
it.
that's all it did was put a movie screen in your head.
Yeah.
Right.
And I totally agree. Kids don't have it nowadays. Unless they got a chunk of plastic in their hand that's controlling somebody on a video screen running around shooting people up or platforming.
So here's the conundrum.
They got nothing. They got nothing.
I think the toy companies might potentially be in is if you spend the money to make the movie that good, you have to make it that good because the people that are currently buying your product, i.e. us, like we're going to be way more critical than a kid is.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
Like if a kid went to go see the movie Cats a few years ago, they didn't care, but all the adults were like, "Oh yeah, look, he's got a butthole on his costume." Like we noticed stuff like that, so we're going to tear it apart.
You'd notice something.
The bat nipples.
Those are the stories I've heard. I've never seen
the bat nipples.
Right.
There's a big one.
Yeah, right.
They were
Kids
so
didn't care.
upset that they had nipples on it. Who cares first? If it was a good movie, it was
though?
It was quite campy.
Yes.
I mean, after the second one, because the first and second one were really
Richard
good.
Donner totally went campy with him. Was it Richard Donner? No, that was Superman.
That was Superman.
You don't think I'm taking?
Well, he went campy with Superman too.
Yeah. But no, I know what you're saying.
But yeah, absolutely. So okay, you expect it after the third, fourth, fifth movie. You're like, okay, these are where it's going. I could accept that. Transformers, this is where it's at. Now, don't get me wrong. Transformers had amazing CGI.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
But the toys were complete trash.
The movie toys are garbage.
Trash.
I can't
So,
stand them.
there's
I
a-
collected a bunch of them, and I'm like, I don't even know why the hell I'm buying these. These are stupid looking.
Right. and that's the polar opposite of, okay, well, McFarlane's toys are quite nice.
Yeah.
The whole franchise is just crap. Shazam is probably the only thing that's pretty decent right now in DC.
Movie?
Movie-wise.
Yeah.
But you watch Bay movies
Joker.
for the Joker's good, but he didn't go into that yet. That's a whole nother.
Yeah.
That's the Todd Phillips. That's the
Yeah.
DC or the DC Black or what is it? That's their comic.
DC Noir or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Right.
But then you look at the Bayverse and you're like, okay, I see the movies are kind of campy, but the CGI is great. The toys are crap. So it's like polar opposites, and you're like,
Yeah, but that's an easy fix because you can package a shit toy at a 25% of what you're going to package the good toys at.
Uh-huh.
Just put them on the shelf. The kid will see that package and they'll be like, wait, that's a better toy, and it costs $5 more, but that's the one I want. So if you do it right, you can make it work.
you could,
But
you could.
my point is though, like without the media, you're not going to get kids in. So they're either lying to everybody saying that they're for the kids. We want to get more kids in. Like, but you're not really doing a good job of doing that. You're either going to sink the money into the media to get those kids to look at your stuff,
Right.
or you're just going to continue to sell to adults and lie to us and say that you're making it for the kids.
Yeah, I mean, how hard is it? How hard is it to actually get these people to understand you are a toy company?
Right. Now,
I know, but
I
but
get that there's...
but I mean, we know for a fact that you're making all of this stuff for the adult market. We know for a fact.
Right.
See, and this is why I like Valaverse. I'm going to circle back to this guy here because this guy has no media, but his toy line is phenomenal.
He is comic, but it's not.
He is working on media, but he understand. He doesn't lie to us and be like, "I'm making these for kids," but he does make his toys durable enough for kids to play with. He knows he's making it for us. That's why we get we get 4 pairs of hands. You know, some figures get 2 heads. We get 3 clips in the damn gun. You're not going to put 3 little maggets for a rifle in a figure if you're worried that a 4-year-old is going to swallow it.
Correct.
So but that's what I like about it is his toys can be played with by kids, but they're made for adults. But Hasbro's like, well, we have to make them for kids, so the plastic is softer and it comes apart and it's more malleable.
So for media wise,
I was to say it's all the regulations and crap that
So if you want to go media, okay, so we get our Marvel movies, which is probably by far and away the best media that we have right now for any toy line.
Yeah, I mean most consistent. I think
most consistent.
Yeah,
it's done very well. Do you He-Man and G.I. Joe, because the He-Man movie that came out 30 years ago was just quite trash, but for fans it was okay. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
If I show it to my wife and daughter, they're going to be like, this is the complete garbage.
Kind of like what you said when I tried to show you Tron.
Exactly. But G.I. Joe, those movies,
Yeah.
I did not like those movies.
No.
So why don't...
You're a big Dwayne Johnson guy. You're a big Rock fan.
Yeah. But if I was looking at this, I'm like, okay, that's not Roadblock and Duke. That's not... They're trying too hard. Should they just scrap movies and go right into video games? Because kids play video games.
Did you play the last video game?
Yeah, it was
terrible.
It was just as bad.
No.
It was just as bad as the movies.
Yeah.
Make it a Call of Duty. It's a Call of Duty with names. Just put it for what it is.
But
they're humans with guns that are shooting other humans.
But
they're
they
not.
can't make it that violent. That's the problem.
Yeah.
But they make Call of Duty that violent.
Call of Duty is its own property.
Call of Duty is
not selling
Call of Duty
toys.
is its own property, and they're not selling
Any
toys.
military. Let's just say military. That's fantasy.
Yeah.
That's Conan. Conan killed other people.
Mhm.
That's what it is. That's what he's a barbarian who has a sword that's starting to stop a sorceress skull head.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
See, but that's your difference. You're either fighting a skull or a snake.
Right. So I mean, you could do Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
There was blood. I mean, it was whatever to
Yeah.
a point. I mean, those are fantastic, and I think it does so well because there's not a toy line trying to follow it. That's for
But
old
you have to
school
go back to the origins.
readers.
You have to go back to the origins of the properties. So Lord of the Rings was a book.
That's books,
And
yeah.
so you read that and you can use any imagination that you want to
Right.
play those scenes in your head.
And then they put it on the screen.
I know
that
a
was
lot
just
of people.
amazing.
I know a lot of people that are huge fans of the books that say
Right.
that Jackson ruined those movies. But
Right. Conan was a...
I like to talk to them because everybody I talked to said those movies are amazing, and this Amazon blew those movies out of the water. This new Amazon series, which was really good, by the way.
So, but
very
check
good.
that out.
But Hasbro or Mattel did He-Man as an answer to G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe started back in the 60s with 12-inch figures, and they were supposed to be like adventure guys. Take them out in the
Right.
backyard, have adventures. It morphed into G.I. Joe, but the premise was still there. It wasn't meant to be violent. It was based on the military, but it
was based on the
never
military
violent.
because you had the World War II, you had Korea, you had Vietnam.
Right.
I mean, so they were popular with kids.
Right, a lot of it was based around Vietnam,
'Cause that's what
and it
you
was
seen on
written
the
like
news.
that because that's where Larry Hama, Larry
Yes.
Hama was
I mean,
in
it's,
Vietnam.
I mean, it's one of the reasons
But-
that made the original G.I. Joe in the 60s so popular. I mean, the 12-inch doll is, like war
Well,
hero
so I
kind of
don't-
thing.
Right.
So I don't know if this has ever really been. I don't know if you've ever heard this or not, but there's a reason that the bats were developed in 1986. Because older collectors, like maybe in their late teens, that were still watching G.I. Joe at the time, they were like, "Well, this is BS." I mean, like you've literally got a field of people that are 20 yards away from each other, shooting blue and red lasers at each other, and not one person dies. So they developed the bat so the G.I. Joes could like kill their enemy
Right. Yeah.
in combat, and so
They're
but-
just destroying a machine. They're
but-
not taking a life.
exactly. So it's like when you kind of start going down that path, like, and honestly, I think that's part of the reason why the media doesn't work. Because when I go watch a GI Joe movie, like I want to see something like Lord of the Rings, right? Like
Right.
I understand what the context of the story is. I want that violence,
Yes.
like because I know what it's about. It's not just random violence,
Right.
but.
It's not Care Bears.
But
It's not
like,
Smurfs.
They try to do it, but then they try to peel it back. I mean, in Snake Eyes Origins, like, okay, I like campy ninja movies. Like my American Ninja is like one of my favorite movies. So I like campy.
Yeah, oh,
ninja
yeah.
movies.
You need to
So
hook you up
if-
with
if-
Michael French.
If I took, Snake Eyes and the whole GI Joe aspect away from Snake Eyes Origins,
Yeah.
like I thought it was kind of a fun campy ninja movie. Now it was hard to kind of stomach some of the stuff because I knew like Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes and Scarlet.
So if
showed
they
up
took
and
the
Baroness-
characters out and just
So-
left the people,
yeah, if I take the story
It was
off
a
of the movie
okay
itself,
movie.
like it wasn't a bad movie
No.
to me. Like, and I like those kind of movies.
right?
But my expectation of that movie is like even in American Ninja, there's like a little blood, or somebody gets stabbed with a sword or slashed with a sword. Like in Snake Eyes Origins, like there was a crap ton of fighting in that movie. There wasn't like one speck of blood.
Right.
So like you're trying to kind of give the adults what they want, but you're trying to keep it clean for the kids. It's like you don't know what lane you're in. And it's not like are you in the express lane versus the I got to get off at the ramp lane? Like no, you're going like in the middle lane in both directions. Like you don't
Yeah,
know
you don't-
what you're doing.
yeah.
I was just expecting a better story. I mean, the
think a lot of us
the
were.
action was cool. Like I said, I think some of the acting was bad, but the action was pretty cool. Some of the premise of it for like new age, taking a new age look at things,
Right.
was okay. I mean, but it just wasn't. It just wasn't Snake Eyes. It
Yeah.
just wasn't Snake Eyes.
I
The
think
guy actually, you don't find out why he doesn't talk. You don't find out where the hell he got his battle scars. You don't find out why he put that helmet on
Yeah.
when he hopped on that motorcycle.
Well, that was the thing is like he never really got any battle scars either, so it was a completely different. Like
I mean, he didn't even get cut once for crying
I'm
out
fine
loud.
changing him from like a blonde American that was in one cell of the comic to an Asian American. That's fine. It almost makes his connection to Storm Shadow a little more permanent. But I'm like, dude, like you literally took all of the cool aspects of like he talked. Even if he talked and like 3/4 of the way through the movie, like he had an accident, disfigured him, and like didn't talk. It's like, okay, they brought that in at least, but they didn't do that.
so.
So
I think we got a little off topic on talking about movies so much more than toys, but collecting.
Yeah.
So we didn't like. You still collect the classified, even though you're picking and choosing, but you're
Yeah.
still purchasing figures.
I'll buy the ones that I want. I mean, the thing that sucks is like this whole thing with Falcon. Like he's got a terrible face. Like
I saw that and I was like,
And
what the?
that's one of those things where it's like, all right, I got to see him before I jump. But he's in a fucking window. Sorry, I'm not changing this word. He's in a windowless box, and it's like I can't. Like that's instant buyer's remorse. Like I'm gonna have to see him like on a table at a toy show or something before I decide to
You
try
just
and go
crack
find
them open, look at them, put a piece of tape back on it, and put it back on the shelf.
Good.
I mean, I'm curious to find out though because I don't know. It seems like Hasbro is notorious for taking the head balls or whatever, and just varying the sizes.
Yeah.
On certain, I mean, so I'd love to find out what heads might actually fit him and what heads.
I think
is the hat a permanent thing?
No,
or
the
does the
hat
cap come off?
The hat comes off.
Okay, if the cap comes off, then you could switch the faces. I mean, or switch the heads. But
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people that were saying that they were buying an extra blowback from Valaverse and using that as the Falcon head, and it's almost like perfect.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's the first I heard
Which
that. It's pretty cool.
Don't go down that path because blowback is sold out now.
Of course, he's sold out because
of that
everybody's
reason.
buying them.
But he, yeah. So like the Falcon is. I'd have to see him first, but like Outback, I know that's going to be a phenomenal figure. I love the original Deco, and I have the Tiger Force version. I mean, the mold is just amazing. I think my biggest problem with Falcon is the red lips. Like, I don't care about the face shape. Give him a nice big broad jaw like that. Some people have wider mouths. I have a really tiny mouth. Like, it's not wide at all. It never stops. But like the face shape doesn't bother me. It's like the ruby red lips that they gave. I'm like, wait a minute. Did you use the Stampo for CoverGirl on Falcon? Like, what the hell?
Yeah, I wonder.
So, but yeah. So
speaking of CoverGirl,
a couple minutes.
I mean, it's just
yeah.
I mean,
her thoughts here.
Her reveal was interesting. I mean, when I actually saw like the figures like face in hand, I'm like, okay, I understand the premise behind the character, but
Yeah.
I mean, they just, I don't know. I think they went a little overboard with their looks. They could have softened it up some.
Yeah, and it's really going to be interesting to see where they go. Like, I'm interested to see the figures that are going to come out. So all the figures that are announced right now, once they start announcing the next set after what's out, because like they fired 900 employees a couple weeks ago, and one of them was the lead sculptor for G.I. Joe, the guy that was responsible for all the faces.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Like Major Blood and like the Crocmaster body.
That's sad too, because man, Blood was a great figure.
Like, look at all the great face, like Outback. He did Outback. You know, he nailed Sergeant Slaughter, so he's gone now, and they're going to go find another guy. Like, they don't hire sculptors anymore. They third-party people.
I was gonna say they just bring in third-party people or temps and stuff.
So, so I'll be interested to see where that line goes. But like right now, they announced a figure, and I just expect a 6-inch version with more articulation of what came out in the 80s.
Yeah,
because they've
that
totally
company's really going to shit in a handbasket.
I liked what they did. Like Major Blood is almost like the perfect opportunity because like his patch is kind of like buried into his head. It's a little more like modern. You know, he's got a full-on robotic arm, so it's not like armor anymore. It's like a full-on robotic arm.
I went and sold all my stuff off the other day, and I was going to pull Major Blood out of the box, and I completely forgot to do it. I wound up selling his ass. I was like, shit. But that's all right. I got the ones that I want.
I might have two, maybe. I don't know. I may have gotten a hold of a second one. So, but yeah,
I'm not giving you what you paid for it. I'm just kidding.
Not what I paid for it. Actually, if I broke it down, it was probably like $20.
We'll talk later.
But yeah, no, it's yeah. So I don't know. It's for something like G.I. Joe though, because I've got that pass with it. Like, I don't really need the media out there.
Okay.
I'm getting out of it because Hasbro's just letting me down, and I think I just hit my breaking point, and I'd rather just something else came along for me to want to divert my money to, and they're knocking it out of the park.
I'm on the same train with the Transformers. The only thing that they've got coming out right now that I want is hopefully my breakdown should be coming soon for my Menasor. Once I got him finished, I'm done with those. And then they have this this Titan class Guardian.
Oh, that
the Omega Supreme Guardian, the one that I was putting up a stink about the other day.
I wanted to take a snapshot of that text. I'm like, yeah, this is how Matt feels about Transformers.
Dude, I mean, come on. 2 years ago, the original Omega Supreme was $160. This thing is $200, a $40 jump in 2 years.
No,
I mean, that's got. I'm sorry, that's got
I'm
nothing to
surprised
do.
it only went up 40.
That has nothing to do with supply. That has nothing to do with materials. I mean, the price of oil has actually been coming down on that side of the world for the last 6 months.
Yeah,
because I mean, they're getting everything that they need from Russia.
Yeah. Yep.
So, I mean, it's actually coming down a little bit over. I mean, diesel is under $4 for the first time in, what, 3 years? 2 years?
Wow.
2 years?
Yeah.
That's good for
2.5 years?
Yeah.
So, I mean.
Are you looking something up?
A little bit, yeah.
What are you looking into?
Just trying to figure something out.
We'll stay on this for like
Yeah.
another minute or
Yeah,
two,
yeah.
and then we'll kind of make an announcement. We'll do some shout-outs and then get out of here. We're going to try to move the show into like a 45-minute range, make it a little bit easier for you guys to listen.
But yeah, this Guardian is the last thing that I really want, and I'm kind of hoping that I'm done.
You know what?
The stuff they got coming out is I am just not.
You know what I
interested
think
in
that
it.
Guardian is for you? I think it's your his tank. Because that's when I really kind of felt like I was going to
It
get
is
out of
the
classified. 'Cause I knew I
and the
wasn't gonna
crappy
get it.
thing about this is when it hits the secondary market. I mean, it is going to be. It's gone.
Yeah.
It's absolutely gone. It is way, way, way out of my range. I mean, unless I can like pre-order this thing now and just be done with it, I'm screwed. I can't. There's no way in hell I'm ever going to want to attain it because once it's gone, it's going to be gone. And
Well, like Omega's only $225.
huh?
Omega Supreme.
Yeah,
He's
but
only-
this is a complete like.
Repaint. Yeah,
Well, it's a repaint, recolor.
it's a troop builder.
But it's also something that people have actually been wanting for 30 years. It's like the Unicron. The first time they came out with Unicron in the Armada line, oh my God, the secondary on that damn thing was just absolutely stupid because it was the only one that was available.
Yeah, I
It was the
remember
only Unicron that you could get. It was only about that tall. It had a pretty cool secondary mode on it, but the secondary market on that thing for I bet you 3 or 4 years before the next one came out for the Energon line
Yeah.
was $300-$400.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, and that was literally 3 months after it came out. They just all got bought up and put on eBay.
Wow.
Yeah, people were
Interesting.
buying it too. I got lucky. I got mine when I got mine. So,
Yeah. It's crazy.
but I mean, now people aren't $30 out of the box. $30.
Yeah.
I just pre-ordered 5 of them.
Unicrons?
No, Guardians.
Yeah, you did. Scalper.
Yep,
Yeah, that's the way he works. He's going to charge $1,000 a piece for them damn things too.
about $350.
$350.
He's on the page, but I didn't see a receipt.
That's it.
so
I mean,
I don't think he actually
that's,
did it.
That's the kind of shit. When someone has access to your house, get you murdered.
Yeah.
Right here,
I'm
Aaron.
just
Look at
kidding. Just
it.
kidding.
See it? 6 items in your shopping cart. Check out. Add it to my pile. And place order.
All right, he just bought 6 of them. I literally watched him buy 6 of those. Dick.
Yeah.
You want one,
man?
man? I got one for sale for $427.99.
Yeah, I'm sure you
Free
will.
shipping
Sure
if you come
will.
and get it yourself.
That tax doesn't seem right. All right, so we got a few minutes. So we kind of want to make an announcement because I've got to do some work to put this together. So in a previous life, we did a podcast called Guys with Odds. It's currently not on the interwebs anymore. I had to take it down so I could make room for this podcast. But in the future, we might put it back up. But the second show we did a bracket of movie villains, and we broke it into 4 categories, and we had a lot of fun doing it. It was like our second show, so we didn't have a big audience back then. So we're looking at doing a show. We're looking at doing another bracket because it's March Madness time. So here's what I came up with, and we may have to bounce this for a few weeks, but this will we can spread this out over 10 shows. But I've got for the 4 groups, basically we'll have a group of like indie. Like Valaverse or Super 7,
Yeah.
like indie manufacturers, like kind of on a smaller scale. But there will be 2 of those, and then the other 2 regions would be Mattel and Hasbro, because those are really the only big, big toy manufacturers that are making anything of note, like in a large scale. Now, I think to make it a little bit easier, there won't be 16 teams in each bracket. There's going to be 8.
Okay.
So we're going to do like a 32, but. The first 4 weeks would be like the 4 matchups out of each region that we can talk about. So we'll have like 6-7 minutes to talk about each one. The next 4 weeks is going to be like the results of each region. So that's 8 weeks.
Okay.
The 9th week I'm looking at would be like the 4 quarterfinal games or semifinal games.
Okay.
And then the last week would be the finals from each side of the bracket, and then we talk about the champ.
Okay.
So we can get it done in 10 weeks, but we've got to we're going to do it based on toy lines. is what we were talking.
Yes.
So we got to pull toy lines out for all these different like brackets. But yeah, all the Hasbro stuff will be bunched. All the Mattel stuff will be bunched. I'm sure we can get 8 toy lines out of each. And then basically it's just kind of a mad scramble, 16 other toy lines that we'll just spread out in the other 2 indie categories.
Okay.
Because I don't really know how else to classify those.
True.
Hasbro does a shitty job of classified anyways.
They do a shitty job of classifying shit.
Yeah. I hate to say it, but I feel like I would... My interest in classified, I'm going to take one final shot here because there's a lot of things I don't care about anymore. But I feel like my interest would probably be revived in classified if there's an announcement that they were getting rid of Emily or got rid of Emily. I just don't like her. She's such a smug person.
I mean, honestly, the way they work it, I mean, she couldn't market shit to a fly, and she's horrible. She's terrible.
It really pissed me off when things started to fall apart last year, and they were doing a live stream, and this was to be the live stream that was going to kind of start to answer some questions for the collectors, and just real smug. Oh, you can ask us, but we're not going to tell you. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm kind of done with this, and I monitored the situation for a year, and I've come to my decision. I'm not going to support the line.
I'm actually glad I let most of mine go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a completist, so I need to have everything, but not for that line anymore.
Yeah,
I'd rather focus my.
I was kind of the same way with Transformers, and I really stepped out of it. So,
you got any props this week, big guy?
Yes, we do. We want a big shout out to Mike out at Mr. Wayne's. Went out and talked to them boys today. He's going to be sponsoring a big thing to do with another to-do type person, Mr. Richie Sandoval, owner of Midwest Collectibles.
Love that guy.
They're going to be doing ShyCon, May 20th, 2023.
I wish I could go back to 1920. No, that was a great crash.
If you're looking for any more information on this, I suggest you go to his website and email him directly, or go visit him at his brick and mortar, 320 North Independence Boulevard in Romeoville, 60446. Or you can contact him at his email, midwest.collect1@gmail.com. I don't know how quick he is to answer, but he's a pretty upstanding guy. So I'd imagine that whenever they get a hold of it, he'll bounce something out to you.
Yeah.
He's closed on Mondays, but you can go see him Tuesdays, Saturdays, 11 to 7, and he's open on Sundays from 12 to 6. So go ahead and pop out and see Richie Sandoval out at Midwest Collectibles. And if you get a chance to, go talk to Mike at Mr. Wayne's. Hell of a bunch of guys. There's a good chance if you're looking for anything Marvel or Pops, man, they got Marvel, Pops, or DC. They got what you're looking for.
Yeah.
So.
Well, in our effort to build the toy collecting community, there are a couple of good guys
we
to
wanna
have
keep
on our
them going.
side to get started.
Yeah. Also want to give a shout out to Aaron out at Wax Packs.
Oh, I thought it was this guy.
I was like, man, this is my first show back as showrunner. I didn't think I did that good.
But give a shout out to Aaron at Wax Packs. He's got a store full of stuff up there in Roselle. So I mean,
expect to spend some time in there.
If you're looking for something on like the backside of time, way back in the day up to I mean, he's just got like loose stuff all over the place. But man,
so I don't want to call it. I'm thinking antique store. It's like an antique store,
exactly
like
that's exactly what I was telling Ron.
Tons of nooks and crannies of just like you have to just give yourself time to let your eyes breathe.
He's got some. He's got some collectible records.
And you walk around, and then you got to walk around, and then you got to walk around.
You're going to walk in that place, and there's going to be so much to look at. It's going to be overload. You're going to want to make 3 or 4 trips.
Don't go with a backpack.
It's not a huge store, so it's not going to take you a hell of a long time. But he's got some good stuff in there. Go check him out. Check him out. He's a nice guy.
The first time I went in there, I think I spent like an hour in the front. I didn't even realize he had like kind of a little secondary back room that he's got a bunch of shit hanging on the wall.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
So that's what we got going for some local people and some convention news that's coming up and stuff.
Why are you drinking?
Anyway, for us, you can look for us anywhere you listen to your favorite podcasts: Podbean, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, Player FM, Podchaser, and Amazon Music. Keep an eye out for go to our Facebook page, give us a like and a subscribe. Check us out on Instagram. We'll be getting a little more active on that coming up here pretty soon. And look for us on YouTube. We're going to have a presence there coming up.
Yep.
Coming up quite soon here again.
That's the plan. That's the plan.
But yeah, go ahead, head out to those media sources and like, subscribe, give us a shout out, throw us a note.
Yep.
We want to hear what you got to say. So,
Perfect timing. All right.
that's gonna do it.
I'll give you the last word
That's
on the way
gonna do
out.
it for this one today,
Thank
folks.
you, guys. We'll see you next show.
Autobots, roll out.